Welcome to another episode of unComplex. I'm your host, Adriaan van den Berg, and on the show we try to take the complexity out of business and technology trends. With me today is Martijn Wiktor-Wagemans, the co-founder and COO of The Agency. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Martijn, tell us a little bit more about you. How did you come into the space of e-commerce specifically that you're working in?
Oh, how did I get into e-commerce? Well, I remember I did a study when I was in university. I did first I wanted to do small business retail management, so starting your own company. But after the first year, I said, why would I want to start a company? Why would I need a diploma to start a company? It doesn't make any sense, right? So in the second year, I switched. I checked what is the most important to learn in the business, and I defined it as sales and marketing. So I did a commercial economy. And then I think it was in the third or in the fourth year, I said, guys, we're doing all these things about sales and marketing, and you are talking all about in-store. You don't talk about doing the things online. The internet is like booming. Why are we not talking about this?
So roughly which year was this?
I think it was like 2006, 2007. So, the internet was already there, right? It's not that it's like 1996 or something like that, right? So the teacher said, it takes a moment to update the lesson material. So that's why they don't have it yet. But that was not enough for me. I couldn't handle it. I didn't want that. I wanted to learn this. So when you do an internship, I decided to do an internship with an internet marketing company. And they teach me how to make Google ads, how to do SEO optimization for websites. And I did this internship. And after that, I knew a bit how it's working. And then actually the school asked me if I could do a lecture of 2 lessons for my fellow students and explaining them about internet marketing because, nobody else had an idea about this. And I think this is where when I was still in the Netherlands, I started my own company, and we did like websites for people, optimized SEO, and we did like Google ads. And I think this was back in beginning of 2010s that I started doing this.
And after that?
Well, after that, at some point I... for obvious reasons, I came to Poland, and
a beautiful Polish lady, right?
Yes, of course. And then actually, I found a job here at Saatchi. Actually, it was a great match because they were looking for somebody who spoke natively Dutch and somebody who knew about e-commerce. I think that's actually where the whole e-commerce journey for me has started, and the whole e-merchandising and understanding how bigger brands are working, because previously I had worked with local players or regional players or like smaller companies, right? And well, after that I've worked for various companies. I've worked in like content syndication, I've worked for brands itself, I worked for various agencies, and at some point we decided to do it ourselves.
But it's an exciting time to decide to do something yourself, considering the age of AI.
Yep. Well, actually, I think maybe it was meant to be, because of course, I remember we were like 2 or 3 months in, and then the whole AI boom started. ChatGPT launched a new model, and we said to each other like, "Ooh, like what does that mean for us? Like, are we losing our jobs? Like, what is happening, right?" And I think that this is where we decided to embrace it, as we were a smaller agency having less people. It's better to work smart than to work hard, right? So we said, let's embrace it, let's use it, let's incorporate it into it. And actually this turned out to be a great strategy because, as we got along, more people jumped on the bandwagon with this. Also the bigger agencies, they started using and leveraging more AI. Only I think that the difference or the luck that we have is that we are, of course, like AI native, right? We were born into this age. Well, you see that if you have a bigger agency, they have a lot of graphic designers, a lot of copywriters. They cannot switch fully to an AI model because half of those people would lose their job basically, right? So I think previously we thought like, oh my God, are we going to manage with this? And now we're seeing this as a real benefit.
So how are you leveraging AI at the moment?
So we're doing it on 2 ways. So we're trying to, analyze things quicker, or, understanding customers' need, or, analyze certain data that we have. Because, a customer always comes with various data points. They have various tools. They have various insights. For example, Amazon Brand Analytics, or they have a certain tool that they have, and we with AI, we can quickly analyze, how our product's performing, what is performing well, what is not performing well, which channel is performing well, which channel is not performing well, and then actually bend it on in a strategy on how we can actually help that customer. On the other hand, of course, we're also trying to make our people smarter because, there's a lot of repetitive jobs. There's a lot of things that are quite easy. It's quite easy to automate those things or AI support those kind of ways of working. And actually, that makes our people much more effective.
And how do you use all these tools without stifling creativity? How are you drawing the line to not also over-automate all of these processes?
Well, I think that over-automate, okay. And I think that, first of all, it is very important that the people that are working or supported by AI are still creative. I remember we did some trial for copywriters. We specifically asked them not to use AI. And guess what happened?
They used AI?
Half of it still used AI, right? So, but if...
So when you say trial, what kind of trial?
So, if we want to work with certain people that, we want to work with or want to add to our network or support in our working or even hire to our company, we're doing some kind of trials, right? Because, for certain jobs, you have job interview, but if it's something creative, like a designer or a copywriter, it's best to have a trial, right? Because let's see how good you maybe can talk very good, but how good is your materials that you can show, right? And I think that if you are just leveraging AI and do not have the creativity anymore, that is not right. That I think it's key that we're somehow leveraging AI with the human touch, because otherwise we will really lose creativity.
I'm curious, do you do some sort of A/B testing when it comes to content creation to compare how the AI created content performs versus the human created or human assisted then?
Yeah, so we've done tests where we checked how fully AI created versus AI aided, as we call it, because it's aided by AI. Actually, we figured out that the AI aided is performing 10 to 20% better.
And better than pure human content as well, or not?
Also then better than pure human content, but in that case we checked the purely AI content. Because I think, and this is my personal opinion, that customers sometimes see that it's AI and then are a bit turned off with certain things. Also, for certain products it won't make such a difference, but as you go into higher segments, into more expensive products, people are more turned off by those kind of, standard generated content.
So how does AI still help you then in content generation when it comes to copywriting? Well,
if we take copywriting, for example, how to fit in a word in a certain way, it can be inspiration for copywriters. Sometimes it's happened that they're working with, adding words into the copy, or, how to rewrite this, or even asking which kind of synonyms can I use, right?
I imagine for SEO optimization, this is ideal.
It's perfect for SEO optimization, because if you have to insert certain keywords to it, it is much easier to actually accomplish that. Yes, that's 100% true.
And research as well, I assume.
Research is, but I think it's. I think what needs to be done properly to have keyword research is to connect all the different data sources. I think that is what is key, right? Your Helium 10, your Hrefs, those kind of things. If you are properly implementing that it can take the data from there, it's great. If you just use AI by itself and ask questions like, give me the keywords, it won't be right. Question is also in this case where you optimize for, right? Are you optimizing for Google or are you optimizing for a retailer page?
So what would be the difference?
I think that, standardly, if you have a website yourself, if you have a business, right, and it's about promoting your business, then it makes sense to optimize for Google. If you're a brand and you sell on Allegro or Amazon, you don't want to be found on Google. You want to be found on Amazon or Allegro, right? So the algorithms work a bit different. The ways of working with those kind of SEO works a bit different.
And what about they call the translation death trap, where you start getting this gap between all the different cultures, regions, localizing content? Does AI help you with this, or is it even more challenging when you start using mass production? Well,
it can support, but I think still in the end it has to be checked by a human. Because, this makes sense or this doesn't make sense, right? That what you, for example, I've seen companies just throw certain things into ChatGPT and then expect that that's the translation, but it's like doing it on Google Translate, right? It won't translate proper, right? And I translate this to English. Will it translate to British English, Australian English, US English, right? The same as with, in Latin America with Spanish, for example. But I think there is one other thing that is important into search, and what is maybe good to touch base on as well. I think that it's also very important for brands these days to be found on things like ChatGPT, for example, right? Where it is very crucial that if you're asking like what kind of chips there are, and that that your brand is popping up, right? There's already like plugins for it with Shopify where you can already straight buy the things from tools like ChatGPT.
I wasn't aware of this.
Yes.
But this must be a major threat for platforms like Google search.
Yeah, of course. I think this is why Google very quickly understand like this whole ChatGPT AI craze might be killing for them, because if you're going to Żabka, like the kids, they are no longer looking on Google what's the answer. They go to ChatGPT, they use the dictate function, and they ask like what it is, right? I think last time somebody told me a story that they had a whole discussion in a supermarket over something that they had as a ChatGPT answer versus what the person at the counter said, right? So yeah, like I think it's just you see that the new generation is adopting this like very quickly, and I think more and more people will adopt this.
And of course, we also see these tools being integrated, not these tools, but this concept of chat interface with things like Rufus and Sparky.
Yes. Oh, I said even on like things like Netflix, where you can just tell it like, I look for this kind of movie. It should be like something about a travel movie with high school friends, and it will just find you like a movie, right? That and the same is with Amazon and Rufus. If you're looking for certain products, or you have certain questions about the product, it will actually scan the content that you've made and then give you an answer, right? That I think last time I asked it, if a certain product was vegan or not, right? Because I wanted to see how it reacted to that, and it popped up one of the secondary images and said, yes, you see here it says that it's vegan. So it tries to analyze the content that you have and then gives you an answer based on that.
Brilliant.
It's amazing technology.
Now, other fields as well, let's say visual content. Do you see that video is going to be more popular suddenly?
I think that we will see brands leverage video more, because of course video production previously was very expensive, and as those models are getting better and better. In the beginning, I think it was Coca-Cola who last year produced some ad, and people said it is too fake. Like, we see that it's made with AI. At some point, this will go away, right? The models will get better. Look at this Will Smith, right? How the development of him eating the spaghetti is. So this will get better and better, and bigger brands will jump on this wagon and also leverage together with agencies or themselves AI-aided content, and video is a great way of adding to the product pages. And now you maybe see that the brand is using one video for a whole product line or for their whole portfolio. I think later we'll see that they're using it for each product, for example, because it's just easier and quicker to create.
But I think it's also crucial to point out with Coca-Cola that you mentioned, these early adopters.
Yeah.
So sure, maybe it was a fail to some extent.
Yeah.
But I would love to know what was the market reach, or what was the attention that they got from this, because it was also controversial.
Exactly. Yeah, well, some people say any publicity is good publicity, right? So that everybody at least talked about it.
Exactly.
I think it's also maybe good to show that as a brand you're an innovator, right? Mm-hmm. We've tried it. Okay, we see that this is working, this is not working. But at least they're learning from it.
And do you think that this technology will be leveling the playing field between smaller and major brands, or in fact be increasing the gap?
I think at the moment where we are now, it is leveling the playing field, because, for example, if you have certain, content tools where you can, certain PIMs or something, they offer also like content creation as AI, right? But, no matter where you're a small brand or a big brand, it all uses the same engine, the same way of working. So you will all be on the same level in terms of how good your content is performing. And I think that at this moment, it will be a level playing field. But I think that as brands will evolve and as brands will think better about it, work with agencies on, improving the strategy, I think this is where certain brands will jump up. If you spend a bit more money on certain things, you again become better than the masses.
And I'm curious, you have your team with all the competencies working with their workflows. What prevents big brands, the marketing directors, from just deciding, instead of investing in an agency, we just get the competencies ourselves?
I think certain brands are doing this, right? Or at least for certain parts, they're doing this. I think that, this is a trend that is moving so quickly. If you really want to have specialized people who understand how this is working and you want to be on the foreground, it is better if you work with people who didn't try it on one particular brand, but has done it on several, right? And I think that, this is where case studies from one market or one brand that tried something can be then applied to the other one. That I've worked myself at a brand. I've worked also at agencies. I think within agencies, those new technologies and new ways of working are being shared quicker and are quicker to be adopted. I think what I've always missed at the brand is this kind of updates from the market. You're a bit slower with, adopting, understanding what is happening. And I think that is especially, it's like the race to the moon, for example, right? If you're not on the foreground, like you might lose, right? And that I think even in some cases, if there's brands who are not adopting it, you might be the next Kodak, right? And that I think that's very possible. I remember I was. I think, how much is this here? 10 years ago, I was sitting with various grocery retailers in the Netherlands on the table, and we talked about, how important it is to have your products online. And some of those people said, nah, the shopping online, nobody's going to do that. It's just 0.5% of our revenue. We will not invest in it. And look at it now. Now it's like 15, 20%. There's even like special online supermarkets. But if you didn't jump on that bandwagon early and had like the lessons and the things learned from that, like starting it now is very difficult, and you're far behind on your competitors.
And tell me about this AI backpack that you call it.
Okay, yes. So what we like to do is people still like to do business with people, right? We're also talking here as two people to each other rather than, making this whole AI, right? I think that customers want to talk with people. That's why it's important that, we have people, but supported by AI. Because what we want to do is, in our AI backpack, we have several things that an e-merchandiser is doing that can be easily automated or easily done with support. Certain uploads, renamings, but also like analyzing certain data points from the customer, what is working well in terms of conversion and how we can combat that. So we're much quicker with, having data and turning that around. And I think this efficiency, that is what makes this AI backpack so great.
So when you approach new clients, what are typical misconceptions they have when you say that we are an AI augmented agency, we work with this? What do they expect versus what's the reality?
I think that, generally, like this is generally bigger or smaller brands. AI can solve me everything, right? I think a lot of people use ChatGPT because that's what they know as AI, but we both know that AI is more than just ChatGPT in that case, right? But in this case, you see that, I can just ask ChatGPT this and it will tell me this. I had a customer who said, I have product description. No, I don't need them. I just ask ChatGPT to generate all of that. That's great, but I always say it works like an intern. It still makes mistakes. And if you incorporate those mistakes into your plans and everything, it will look very, very strange. AI doesn't solve everything for you like that. It's not the key to, let's say, to solve everything. It's a tool that you can use, but you still have to check certain things.
So let's make it practical. Let's assume I am representative from a major pet food producer in Europe, approaching your company saying, listen, we need help. We want to improve our market share.
Yeah.
How would this look like?
So I think that we first ask for as much data points as we can get. Do you have your Amazon brand analytics? Do you have other tools that you're leveraging? Like, do you have some sales data? And then what we're doing is AI is helping us analyze all of this data, and then together, supported with AI, we're trying to make assessments of what is working, what is the right strategy. But again, here I'm telling again that it's an AI backpack, it's supported by AI, but there should be still a human person thinking what makes sense, right? AI might maybe make some proposals, and then you say, okay, from the 5, those 3 make sense, those 2 doesn't make sense because I also know that the client asked me this or the client said this to me. Like, there's always some small things that are important as well. And then you can create a strategy. And I think that where previously it took us a month maybe to come up with something, we can now do it within a week.
So you're going through all the data assisted with AI, making assumptions on what worked, what didn't work, what kind of ads or promotions, and then create a whole new strategy for this in 1 week.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the company, like and the data that they give. But yes, sometimes a week is possible. Sometimes 2 weeks, but it is just 4 times faster than normal.
Are there specific sectors that you're focusing on?
I think now we currently work a lot with SMEs, as of course we are started recently, so we work with SMEs. We'd love to target also some more of the Fortune 500 companies. We're open to work with them as well, but I think as you're beginning, it's easier sometimes to work with some mid-sized businesses. Then they're also, I think that in certain cases they're easier with adopting the AI trend and certain things like that. And
are you focusing on Polish market, foreign brands that are entering the market here, or vice versa?
No, I think that we of course focus on the Americas as well. This is an important market for us. Europe is an important market for us as well. I think it's generally more Western Europe than Poland, for example. But I wouldn't turn away and deal in Poland either, right? Let's be honest. Yeah.
Martijn, looking ahead, what do you think about the future of these kind of agencies then? Will we see more mergers and acquisitions of smaller agencies getting pulled into bigger ones that have all these skill sets sorted out? Or will we rather see the smaller agencies taking the market more? And
I think, but this is just an estimation, I think that some of these bigger agencies will buy some of the smaller ones because they're ahead with the technologies and the ways of working, and then incorporate that into their ways of working. And I think it's also like, you might see that, I don't think that there will be mass firings at this bigger agency because it would create riots. But the question if somebody would leave like creatively, if they're going to replace that is a question. I think this is what bigger agencies will ask themselves if that makes sense, yes or no.
And do you think there are specific roles that are going to be in the line of fire?
Yeah, I think, as you can see now, the video, the graphic designer, the copywriter, I think those are the easiest, those are the first ones on the line, basically. That I know it's not popular to say, but, we have to be realistic with certain things.
We spoke a lot about video. Are you doing video as well?
Yes, we're also doing video creation as well. Yes, I think that as we said, it's easy to for a smaller budget to actually make a great video. So yes, our agency is also doing video production.
And are you considering to create some of your own tools as well? Some software to create, let's say, at the end of the day, you're focused on the results, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter whether you're using Midjourney or DALL-E or Flux. You want to have just the solution. And how does it look? What are you planning to do?
I think,
without telling too much what's happening in the kitchen, of course.
I won't. The chef won't reveal its recipes, but I think what will happen is, and this is generally how businesses are working, is that now ChatGPT costs what, $20, like the other AI tools. Also, they cost relatively low amount of money. But if it really can replace FTEs worth $4,000 or $5,000 a month, why would they sell it for $20? So undoubtedly, what will happen is the price will go up. First, they will make you use it. You'll get used to it. And then when you cannot live without it anymore, they will raise the prices, right? So I think it's very important now to not base your things solely on AI, but start making your own tools and your own things, because later down the line, the prices are just going up for that. So if you base your whole business on ChatGPT, like, in 2-3 years, your cost might become much more higher than it is now, right? So yes, we're also developing our own tools, but again, we are just here 6 months. So, we have a lot of things that we're setting up, but it's on our roadmap too.
And tell me about these 6 months. Have you found it easy to attract new clients with your approach?
Well, I think that always when you start something, I think every, entrepreneur will tell you that the beginning is always hard, right? That, you have to, find your first customer, work, then find the next one. So, no, I'm happy with the choices I've made, and I think we're happy with where we stand these days. So of course it's not an easy journey because you have to do everything yourself. Like you normally, if you're working in a bigger agency, there's a lot of different departments that are each having their role. And now if you're with less people, you're playing more of those roles. But to be honest, like and again, when I said back in Netherlands, when I started my e-commerce journey, I also had a company with one friend of mine, and we were basically sales, marketing, finance, like HR, everything, right? So no, it's like nice as well that also somebody who is on a C-level position, you're a bit closer to the actual action in this case, right? Than what I would normally be in all the roles that I have. So no, I'm very happy. It's very exciting for me, and I'm just pleased that I can join to this AI wave and sprinkle my own.
It's perfect timing.
It's perfect. I sometimes I say like it was meant to be. That. But I think everything happens for a reason. So maybe it was meant to be.
Martijn, in 2026, any interesting predictions? Perhaps also around competitor analysis, because we didn't speak about competitor analysis yet.
How do you mean in terms of competitor analysis? Like you mean like brand competitor analysis?
Yes.
Well, I think it will, more and more tools will start to use plugins. You already see like this tool is using AI, that tool is using AI. I think that at some point, it's easier to plug in certain tools, and then it's very easy to, analyze a competitor left or right with how it's performing on this platform, how it's performing on that platform. So yeah. Well, I think the biggest prediction is, I think that we'll see that this cost of the AI tools will rise, especially into next year as well. I'm also very eager to see what, what AI can do with reasoning itself, right?
That's a big question mark.
Yeah, yes. Well, there's a lot of discussions going on. Certain people are saying it's going left, certain people it's going right, but it will be very, very curious to see what way this goes.
Yeah, because some people say that we are about to enter the age of super generative AI.
And some people say that won't happen.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's always two sides to the story, right? That certain people will believe that the Bitcoin will go up. Other people believe that the Bitcoin goes down, right? That there are certain people who are saying that AI cannot solve logic questions, and this is why the question of this, self-reasoning or self-thinking AI is further away than we're thinking. That, I think it's in how the technology is evolving, and that's very hard to predict. That I think that if we would have this podcast maybe like a year ago, we wouldn't expect that we would be right here in this day to with all of the technology that we have.
No, definitely not.
So we never know what is happening. But exciting times are ahead. That's for sure. I think what we'll definitely see also in the next years is that the models will get better and better. I would expect that these mistakes might be that the models are less prone to make certain mistakes. That is what I would also expect.
I was surprised. For the previous podcast, I was searching for some images that I wanted to use. And I was using Perplexity. Yeah. I like these kind of tools when you have various models you can just plug in and use. And it created for me this perfect list with 2 examples of images for each shot and with URLs, description, why it fits everything. And out of the list of, let's say, about 50 photos, I think 2 links worked.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is fun. If you sometimes ask it, can you analyze this on Amazon? And then it will give you an answer. And then you say, but actually it doesn't make sense. And they say, I'm sorry, I cannot scrape Amazon. Yeah. Yes,
but it gave you an answer.
It gave you an answer. Yeah, it's like, in certain cultures, people are just saying yes out of politeness. Well, they know that it doesn't happen, right? I feel that this is also the bit with AI. And you have to then ask okay, but what are your sources? How do you get this? And then it will say like a little schoolboy, sorry, I made it up. I think that's still the issue with AI. If you just randomly take everything that it says, then you're going to make mistakes. And I've even seen presentations where there were things in it and like that doesn't make sense. Like, and then especially if you see then the AI marks in the text or something, then you think, okay, I know where this comes from and I know how they get to this. Yeah.
Martijn, exciting times and a great moment for you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be here.
Right, that's all. So please follow and like, and we hope to bring you some interesting content again next episode. Bye-bye.